It's time to make some money. This is Betting the Breeders' Cup, presented by FanDuel. Fast and Furious, that is the name of the game of the Qatar Racing Breeders' Cup Sprint. $2 million on the line, 6 furlongs the distance, and a very heavy favorite that is looking to get his very first Breeders' Cup victory in a third try. That is 4-5 favorite Jackie's Warrior for trainer Steve Asmussen. To give us all the handicapping insight that we need here as we overlook the beautiful Keeneland race course. They're getting it set, of course, for Breeders' Cup Friday and Saturday. Brittany Urton, Nick Luck, Matt Bernier, 4-5 on Jackie's Warrior. We've seen him at a short price before in the Breeders' Cup, and he hasn't gotten the job done. Will he Saturday?
Probably.
I'm so convinced. Thanks.
Probably. So the pause there, Matt, probably means that we shouldn't bet him at 4-5, don't you think?
Well, so here's the problem with this race. There's no other speed. He has this race all to himself. And look, gambling aside, this is a really important race for Jackie's Warrior. He's won everything there is to win in the sprint division throughout his career. He's 0-2 in the Breeders' Cup. He ran in the juvenile as a 2-year-old, doesn't want to go 2 turns. I won't hold that against him. Last year, he emerged from the race with a bit of an injury. Again, maybe you've got an excuse, but he has to beat a field like this. 4-5, I think he might be shorter when all is said and done because he's going to be controlling speed in here. I suppose Super Ocho could go, but he should be able to just put him away whenever he wants. If Jackie's Warrior doesn't win this race, it would be so disappointing for his overall legacy because I think he needs a Breeders' Cup victory.
He does. And Steve Asmussen, I spoke to him earlier this week. He said, have you seen him? He's never looked better. Unfortunately, this will be the final race of his career. He will be retired after the Breeders' Cup per the owners. So it seems Steve Asmussen very confident in his chances. I'm with Matt. I don't hold it against him, but he is somewhat tough to trust, and it's a short price to take.
Yeah, the second favorite, Kimari, is interesting, I think. I mean, you'd have thought that when
power.
Yeah, well, when she was a 2-year-old, you thought, well, that's her. Mm-hmm. Oh, yes, she improved a bit as an older, and now she's a 5-year-old mare. She's in the form of her life. Her last 2 starts have returned fantastic times. She's in her own backyard. Wesley Ward does incredibly well at this fixture and indeed at this racetrack. She's got an awful lot in her favour, I think.
How close do you think she can beat a Jackie's Warrior, Matt?
Well, Nick, and here's the caveat with Kimari. I don't doubt that the talent is there, but these last 2 runs, which have arguably been the best of her career, came with really, really soft paces in front of her. She's been able to take advantage of inferior company. Now she has to run down Jackie's Warrior, who, A, is a better horse than what she's been running against lately, but also, B, is going to go quite a bit faster, I think. That's my only concern with Kimari is sort of your second choice in here. Again, I understand that purely on numbers, she makes plenty of sense. I'm just a little bit dubious that she's quite as good as some of the better runners in here.
Okay, if there's not a ton of speed in this race, then how does it set up for any of these closers, like, say, Aloha West, who can be closer if need be, defending champion? Who are the closers, and can they do it with this pace scenario?
No, I think they're all kind of compromised in here, which is what would make it that much more disappointing if Jackie's Warrior doesn't win at a really short price. Aloha West is in really good form. His most recent run was a couple months ago at Churchill Downs. He won that very impressively, and it seems like he's working really well leading into this spot and never, ever discount a champion. He won this race last year fair and square. Who knows, maybe he does it again here. Of the sort of horses rallying from off the pace, I'm most interested in American Theorem. He's a horse coming from Southern California who he's had a couple of tougher trips rallying while wide, chasing slow fractions, and he's run well both times. That's effectively the scenario that he's going to get on Saturday. Whether or not he can run down Jackie's Warrior remains to be seen, but I guess if I'm trying to play some sort of an exacta, maybe it's Jackie's Warrior over American Theorem, cold punch.
I like it. American Theorem, the son of Triple Crown champion American Pharoah, was on the Triple Crown Trail for a while, cut back in distance, and gave George Papapadjomo his first grade 1. So you're getting a price of 10-1 there. All right, Jackie's Warrior, a lot on the line for him, probably a lot of money riding on him if you want to bet him at 4-5, but he's seeking his very first Breeders' Cup victory in his final start. So that is the Qatar Racing Breeders' Cup Sprint. Coming up on Saturday, race number 7. Bet it if you want. New FanDuel customers, bet the Breeders' Cup and get up to $100 back if your horse doesn't win. You've been watching Betting the Breeders' Cup, presented by FanDuel.